Hello and welcome to Expression Library tutorial series. This is episode 7 and we're going to be jumping into adding expression controls into our saved expression. So if you've been following along, we have created multiple expressions, we've created single expressions for properties, we've learned how to apply them to multiple layers, multiple properties, and all of this other jazz. What we're now going to do is actually just going to delete this multi because we don't need that anymore. We can just focus on the other stuff. And we're going to be left with just our position 100, 100 expression. So if you would like to follow on with this episode, all you have to do is make sure that you open up your guide already. We opened it up in episode 2. If you haven't, you know where to open it. Run into the guide, open up the guide page, and then bring open this page. And what we're going to be looking at is applying an expression control using this layer. This layer means referring to the layer you have selected, or the layer that you've applied the expression to. So, inside here we have a cool expression example that you could just copy and paste and use it straight away. What we're going to do is actually run through it and how it works and why it works. So we just want the expression itself. So if we look at from the set target all the way down to X and Y end bracket, we're going to take them, come over to our After Effects document. In the position expression, we're just going to paste that in, and now we have our expression there. So it is going to give us an error, and this error, if you don't know why, I'm hoping you do, is because basically we have an effect here and an effect here that simply doesn't exist on the current layer. It doesn't exist, it's not there. We need to create it to get rid of this error. So the first thing we're going to do is actually walk through this expression step by step and create them expression controls so you can understand what's actually happening in this expression. So what I like to do is something called setting targets. So when you reference another layer in After Effects, it can become very confusing very easily and hard to understand what you're doing. So what I like to do is create a target, var target, and select a layer for that target, even if it is just the layer itself, what is this layer. That allows me then to quickly reference that target, this layer, at any time, or if it's another layer, very quickly. So what we have is we have set target var target equals this layer. We then have get effects from the target. So what we're looking at is the target, this layer, the effects controls, and we're looking for an effect called X position, what is a slider. And we're also looking for a Y position, what is a slider. So these don't exist. So let's add them in by selecting our layer, coming over to the effects controls, expression controls, adding a slider and calling it exactly as it is named there, X position. We then want to duplicate this slider and call it Y position. Click enter. That's going to remove our expression error because now these effects both exist. We can actually manipulate these sliders to change the position of our square. Rectangle, square, rectangle. So that is all working. What this does is basically set the X position, set the Y position. We're taking the current X position and we're adding the X slider, with this value here, and we're also getting the Y, current Y position, and we're adding the Y slider to that position. And we're getting them back as an X and Y array. So now that's done, we can now get on to how do we add these expression controls into our saved expression. So to do that, we have to add some details to the top of our expression, and these are the expression functions. So custom controls. Inside our guide, if we open it up and we go into custom functions, we can actually see all the things that we can add into our expression. And you can add everything from the slider control, checkbox control, color control, 2-point control, all straight in there. So for this example, we're actually using 2 slider controls. So as you can see, it's an add slider control. How this works is you have an add slider control, it means you have to type this. You can just copy and paste this and replace the information in there if that's easier, but I'll show you a much easier way in a minute. We have this layer or master. This layer refers to the layer itself, and the master refers to the master layer in the comp. The name here refers to the name you would like to give the effect. So this is the slider control. If you wanted to call it whatever you want, you'll put the name here. And the value, so they refers to the value of the effect. So let's say, for example, when we apply this, we want the effect value to be 0. We just replace value with 0. So now we understand what this is. We can head over into our position property where we have our expression, and now we need to add them controls into our expression. To do that, it's very easy. We head over to our expression library panel, and down at the bottom here next to the information button, you would have this apply expression library functions to your expression. We're going to click that when we have the position property selected, and that's going to apply every single one of the functions that comes with expression library to our property. And now all we have to do is find the ones that we want to keep. We want to keep add slider control. So we can delete everything else because they honestly don't matter. They're not going to be added, they're nothing to do with our expression, we don't need them. So we just have an add slider control now. But we do need 2 of these because we have 2 sliders. So now we have 2. Now we have to go through this and change what the effect name is, the value, and what the layer is. Is it this layer or is it a master? So, add slider control, we need it to be this layer because this is what this target. The target is this layer. So we can remove and delete master. That's gone. We then have the effect name. So the effect name has to be the same name that the effect is given. So in this situation, it's X position. And now we have a value. So we want the base value of this to be 10. That's done. For the next one, we do the same thing again. It is this layer. Instead of X position though, we have named it Y position. And we also want to give the value a value of 10. And that's it. Done. Now all you have to do is save this like we did previously with every other expression. Save it in by clicking the add, selecting JavaScript, giving it a name, P slider, give it a description, add X slider and Y slider to value. Get rid of the video because we don't have one. We're then going to click create, and that's going to come in here and create our new expression, P slider. What we're then going to do is we're going to delete this. We're going to delete our expression, and we're also going to delete our position control effects. So we have my cool shape with nothing on it whatsoever. We're going to open up the transform properties so we can see what happens when we apply this. We're going to select the layer. We're going to click P slider and click apply. Now what this has done is it's first added our expression onto here. So we have our expression library, that's where it's come from. We have the name of the expression slider and the unique ID number related to it. We have a set target, so the target is this layer. We're going to get the effects from the target. These are now over here, your sliders, so we have X position and Y position. And then we're doing the same calculation. So these have both been set to 10 as that's the value I wanted. If I animate these or change these, it's actually going to adjust my shape and property. So that's how we can apply quickly expression controls to a layer. Now you can also apply this expression to another property. So if I apply this to the anchor point and click apply, we're going to get a little message. So this message is a very important message when we are creating expression controls on a layer or master. What this is asking us to do is we are applying the expression to the anchor point. Now then, do we want to combine, so do we want to use this expression control for this anchor point as well, or do we want to create new ones? If you would like to create new ones, you can simply click yes. If you want to combine them, you can click no. So for this example, we're going to click yes and yes because there's 2 controllers. And as you can see, these new controllers have been created. So this messes with the anchor point. As you can see, the anchor point is not currently moving. And then if we move the actual position, the anchor point is moving because these are connected to the position, these are connected to the anchor point. Now if I was to delete this off, it removes them controllers and the anchor point expression, and now we're just left with these. We're going to try this again, but instead we're going to click no, so it combines the expression controllers together. So we click apply, we click no, and we click no again. You can alternatively click yes for one of them, or how many you want. You get one of these for every single control. Now the anchor point and position are controlled together. So that means the actual position of the object won't change, but the anchor point is changing. That's because of After Effects and how it works with the values. But as you can see, the values down here, the anchor point and the position, when I change this, are both changing. If I was then to select the anchor point and click delete, it deletes the anchor point expression, but it doesn't actually delete the effect controls because they're still being used by the rest of the expressions on this layer. So now I can come in, I can actually delete this, and we have nothing. We're back to our normal shape.